Cooperative Republic of Guyana to be duly constituted and confirmed. The clerk will now be the Almighty God, the body together, the most humbly seek you, guided in knowledge and truth. That you may together build the land where knowledge is free, where the mind without fear, the dead is their life, your words and together. Grant us, God, the living guidance, that you may lead us with several thoughts to come before us. Lay aside all pride and interest, prejudices and personal preference, for the result of our confidence may be to the glory of thy blessed name. Few announcements with respect to issues in the National Assembly. First, long-established protocol say that when the person in this chair, the speaker, speaks, whoever is speaking at the time, give way. The speaker recognizes people when to speak. We've had at least 2 instances where the chair and a member have had exchanges, causing the speaker to stand. Secondly, the issue of dress code has been raised. Our handbook for parliamentarians does address several of these, including displays in the National Assembly and the format of wear and mild colors. Third, we have a number of other issues with respect to the across the floor talk. Our convention center is acoustically designed to amplify our voices. So those of us with loud voices, we may have to tone down the volume a bit because it will appear as if we are shouting. And if 4 or 5 of us shout, it will send a bad example to the nation with respect to how we conduct the business. Honorable members, I must say that so far, I've had great cooperation from the chief whips of both sides, and I continue to look forward to the cooperation of everyone. Thank you very much.
Presentation of petitions, presentation of papers and reports, etc. Reports from committees. Oral questions without notice.
Honorable members, I did receive one request under this head from the honorable member, Ms. Peter Chandan Edmond. I do not consider it to be urgent, and so I'm not going to allow.
Questions on notice. Statements by ministers, including policy statements. Personal explanations. Request for leave to move the adjournment of the National Assembly on definite matters of urgent public importance. Motions relating to the business or sittings of the National Assembly are moved by a minister. Introduction of bills. Public business. Government's business.
Honorable members, we will now resume into Committee of Supply to consider the estimates of current and capital expenditure. It's 9:49 and we are at Agency 32 the Ministry of Public Infrastructure. Can the Minister and staff please take your position? Honorable members, we are at pages 226 and 227. Honorable members, this is a good time for me to propose the question. I propose the question that the sum stated for agency 31. One second, I think I'm on the wrong page. 226. Okay. I'm suffering from the Mahipal syndrome. So please allow me to get the pages. I move from page 224 to 235. I wonder if this is Mr. Mahipal's estimates that they have put on my desk. Thank you very much, Mr. Clerk. Honorable members, I now propose the question that the sum stated for Agency 32, Ministry of Public Infrastructure, Program 321, Policy Development and Administration, current expenditure, now forms part of the estimate. We are ready. Please proceed. Honorable Member, Mr. Patterson.
Morning, Mr. Chair. Morning to all the technical staff. I do hope that you all fare well, and I do hope that you are in good spirits. And of course, this is not a personal examination of you, but of the estimates. Mr. Chair, I'll start off by 6321. Sorry, Mr. Chair, as a formality, sir, I think 2 ministers sitting there, sir. Can we be advised who the questions are to be directed to? As a formality, we did it.
It's a large ministry with two ministers, and yeah.
Just sort of thing. There's always been a clear distinction between who you address.
Honorable Member, let's allow the Honorable Minister
Mr.
of
Speaker,
Public Works.
all questions will be directed to me, and if I need assistance, I will indicate that my colleague minister will assist me.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Patterson.
Thank you, sir. Unprecedented that the minister needs another minister to help him, but as the debate that it may. Of course not. But we had better quality ministers who could have answered on their own. But be that as it may, good morning, everyone. So our agency code 36321. Subsidies to local organizations. So if you turn to, of course, page 598, which breaks out the details, it shows that there was a revised budget of 2019 of 92.2 billion, but they actually paid for $3.7 billion, in excess of $1.7 billion. So can the Honorable Minister say, whichever one of them, when and why was this sum paid, 1.7 billion?
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Honorable Minister.
it is strange that the minister who was responsible for this sector at this time is asking the question about his own act. But to give the answer to the House, the excess had to do with payments that was paid to Linden Electricity, and that is what caused the extra.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Patterson.
Obviously, the minister didn't get this, sir. I have a follow-up question, sir. But the Honorable Minister Indar, when he claimed, when he had his budget speech, claimed,
Asking from the estimate.
I am, Mr. Chair,
Proceed, Honorable Member.
proceed, claimed that, Mr. Speaker, right, he claimed that the AP and UFC did not like Londoners and they paid nothing. So the honorable members confirmed that 1.7 billion was paid extra in 2020. When the Prime Minister was here, we asked how much extra the PPP paid. None extra. So I'm asking, sir, I'm asking whichever minister, where, if the Linden is underfunded, where is the extra money to subsidize the Linden Electricity Corporation, based on the statement the Honorable Minister Indar made?
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister of Public Works.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman, I'm advised the reason for the increase, as stated, were number one, higher demand for electricity catered for in 2018 and 29 budgets. The higher demand was because of new businesses and housing developments, for example, at Bamia and Landersville, and they were added to the grid. Peak demand moved from about 8.5 megawatts in 2018 to 9 megawatts by the end of 2019. And energy consumption moved from 4.636 megawatts to 5,054 megawatts by the end of 2019. Shortfall in payments for energy in 2018 was $389,205,846.16. And for 2019, the shortfall was $569,837,888.56. A total of $1,059,036,634.73.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Patterson.
Thank you very much, Minister, for confirming that growth in Linden increased, businesses increased, and the AP and UAFC government paid for that increase. I do thank you for the opportunity. Sir, I have no other questions on this line item.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. Am I seeing the Honorable Chief Whip?
Yes, good morning,
Honorable
everyone.
Minister
Under
of
the
Parliamentary
Ghana Civil
Affairs.
Aviation Authority, under the Subvention 6321, could the Honorable Minister explain what is the reason for the 609 million when no funds were allocated for the budget 2019 for the CGIA? What has caused this expenditure or allocation under public infrastructure in 2020 between January and July?
Honorable Minister of Public Works.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Before I answer the honorable member, may you permit me, sir, to indicate that it is still a matter of concern about consumption practices in the Linden area where electricity is concerned, since this matter is still a matter that is highly subsidized. So while the honorable member who asked the question just now was seeking to indicate that there was growth in businesses, you give one. There was growth in businesses and in activity. When we did the calculation, sir, the amount of extra housing units that were powered could not have compensated for the increase. So there's still an issue about consumption and wastage of electricity in Linden. So I use this opportunity today while we are making appropriations for Linden electricity to once again appeal to the residents of Linden, not because the price of electricity is much cheaper than it is elsewhere. Consumption must be considered in a conservative manner. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable
To
Minister.
answer the honorable member who raised the issue, the 609 million, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman, the GCAA traditionally are able to garner its own resources and its own funds to run its operation. But of recent times, it has really fallen on hard times. And this has been more compounded by the fact of COVID. And because of the reduction of revenue, because of where they garner their revenue from flights, overpass flights and the rest of it, and we've had a reduction. In order to keep our ICAO certification in order, we need to have at all times in our reserve 4 months of cover. Because of the depletion of the resources, all different things that were happening, this budget is being asked to provide the money for that 4 months of cover, which will be $440 million. And then they have an overall operating deficit of $169 million. So this budget is to ensure that we are, the 609 million is to ensure that we're in compliance with the 4 months of cover, and also to deal with the shortfall of 169 million that they have recorded. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Honorable
Mr.
Minister.
Chair,
Honorable Member, Mr.
a follow-up question.
Honorable Member, Mr. Patterson.
Sorry, a follow-up question. And I thank the ministry for the money for GCA. I'm sure it's well deserved. I'm looking at 2019 and 2018, sir. No money was budgeted for GCA. Can the minister confirm that because of COVID and can the minister confirm GCA was able to garner their own money and required no subvention from the government on the previous years, and it's only due to COVID that the subvention is required in this budget?
Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, COVID is only one of the factors. Mr. Chairman, this agency requires international certification. And because this agency have to be in compliance internationally, I would not like us to wash all of our dirty linen in the public, because it could affect the image of our country internationally. But a member asking the question, who was the minister responsible for this sector, will know about the cost overruns at GCAA that he was the minister responsible for. And I will leave that matter here for now, sir.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Patterson.
Mr. Chair, I give and I cede the floor to the honorable member to speak about the cost overruns that it is. It is a national budget, and if, sir, so you cannot leave any statement open and vague, I cede the floor so you can mention the cost overruns that were on the GCA.
Thank you for assuming the role of the Speaker, Honorable Member, but we are dealing with line items and there is a zero next to it. I allowed the two statements from both sides. Honorable Member, there are no other questions. I now put the question that the sum stated for Agency 32, Ministry of Public Infrastructure, Program 321, Policy Development and Administration, current expenditure now forms part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The sum thus stated now stands part of the estimates. We can turn to page 648. And I propose the question that the sum stated for Agency 32, Program 321, Policy Development and Administration, capital expenditure forms part of the estimates. Honorable Member, Mr. Patterson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Agency code 2606800. And there's a sum of 801 million point excess. Can the honorable member, which of the two, disaggregate the payments listed there?
Honorable Minister.
Just one moment, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, the 801,584 dollars that we are referring to, it entails the provision for loss reduction, rehabilitation and upgrading of the distribution network, rehabilitation of substations at Kingston and Green and Hoop, upgrade, relocation of distribution transformers, implementation of systems management software, and institutional strengthening. The breakdown of the figures: component 1, oversight and accountability mechanisms, 2.544 million. Component 2, consultancy of component 2, operational efficiency, which is the consultancy, systems planning and design, and SCADA, 52.249 million. 3, consultancy, demand forecasting, capacity building, GPL divisional staff team, 46.149 million. 4, recruitment of SCADA management, SCADA support engineers and SCADA technicians, 14.089 million. GPL to establish demand forecasting team, payment for 1 economist and 2 engineers, 8.148 million. The GIS to be updated, linking customers and their transformers. We require 3 field assistants, a sum of 4.818 million. GPL to introduce a business intelligence system, a total of 15.068 million. Component 3, infrastructure investment for loss reduction. Lot A, 250 kilometers of rehabilitation, a total of 171,882,000. Lot B, 310 kilometers of rehabilitation, 361,528 million. C, social management and community interventions, 10,531,000. Administration, monitoring and auditing. Financial and technical auditing, monitoring and evaluation, 1,773,000. Validation form, professional engineering to supervise rehabilitation works, 38,827,000. Administration, as the PCU staff salaries and office expenses, 73,978,000, a total of $801,584,000. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Patterson.
Thank you, sir. And that's the reason why I asked. And can you confirm that all those payments, that all the projects listed there were advertised publicly, given the no objections by the IDB and the MPSTAB, and awarded, and all are in good order since you included payments and those things like that?
Mr. Chair, the gentleman's question is if they were all advertised. The answer is yes. Honorable Member, the Honorable Mr. David Patterson. The answer is yes, but the concerns that I think the Honorable Member should indicate to this House is that if these lots that were awarded went to the lowest responsive bidder, and that is the issue that he should be addressing in this House this morning. If it went to the lowest responsive bidder, it's not if it was publicly advertised.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Patterson.
Mr. Chair, I asked if the projects were advertised, if they received no objection from IDB and from MPSTAB. And the Honorable Minister has not answered that, the last two questions. Did they receive no objection from IDB and from MPSTAB?
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chair, yes, the no objections were all in.
Thank you. Honorable members, Honorable Member, Mr. Patterson.
Yes, sir. I'm glad that the Honorable Member would acknowledge that the IDB found no problem at all with that, sir. Agency code 2609500. Almost $2 billion, if I'm correct, has been spent up to September, or will be spent up to September 2020. Can the minister, and if you look, sir, if you look at the project profile, 129, it's enhancing, I don't want to read it, sir, so that enhancing substation, equipment, distributing clean fuel, onboard, Good Hope, Sapphire, provision of photovoltaic and energy management systems on the CARICOM headquarters, $2 billion. Can the Honorable Minister, whichever one of them, confirm that when completed, that these projects which were designed, signed, and implemented by the AP and UAFC government will greatly improve power supply and reduce power outages? Can he confirm since the $2 billion is spent already?
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chair, I think the Honorable Member is seeking to blow his trumpet. But this activity, along with a series of other activities, were interventions that were necessary as part of a strategic plan to ensure energy efficiency in Guyana, and it did not start over the last 4 or 5 years. It is continuing in a series of interventions for GPL, and to ensure that we have energy efficiency and adequate distribution, reduction of line losses, which means we must stop electricity theft as well, and that we must be able to have responsible consumption of electricity, and also we must pay attention to renewables. And this is not something that was voted just the other day. This is part of a strategic plan for energy efficiency and development in Guyana. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Thank you, Honorable Minister. I just want to clear in my mind too. So this amount allocated will take us along this continuum, right? That started some time ago, you
Yes,
say?
sir. The
Thank you very much.
expenditure will take us along that path of bringing better services
Thank
to
you.
Guyana.
Honorable Member, Mr. Patterson.
Thank you, sir. I thought, and that was a simple answer, sir. Thank you, and thank you, no matter. Thank you for the part that you are now traveling. I do hope that you can stay the course. Sir, I come to agency code 2606700, Hintel on electrification. And yeah, yes, no, there is 2019. Hintel on, yes, sir. Hintel on electrification heard 129 million, sir, that was spent in 2019. Can the minister explain the expenditure? Um, 80 million was budgeted and 129 expended. 2019.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chair, please guide me, sir. There is no appropriation under this program code in 2020. Uh, could you guide me how I should proceed with this?
Honorable Member, you may wish not to comment because the standard is once there is zero allocation
Thank you.
next to a head or program, then there is nothing to ask for. I now recognize. Sorry, you're following up
Mr.
on.
Chair, I'm seeking clarification.
Go ahead, sir.
The last budget was presented this August 29.
We're dealing with this budget.
No. So, sir, are you, Mr. Chair? Can I say so? So, Mr. Chair, if a ministry puts in a project, CGIA, in 2019, then obviously takes it out of the 2021 budget, no questions can be asked on it. If it is in a year, 1 year, and then they expend all the money and they don't put any appropriation for it in the next year, are you saying that the rule of this house is you can't ask how the 2019 budget has been spent?
Yes. But you have other mechanisms. You could always address a question to the minister formally, either orally or in writing, and there's a gestation period and we can go through.
Mr. Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member Mr. Shearer.
Yeah.
And I have next the Honorable Member Mr. Char.
Are you allowing me? Oh,
Yes, Honorable
yes,
Member
thank
Mr.
you very
Shearer.
much. I wanted to raise the issue on the 2609500, which the honorable member was asking a question. I thought I could have come in at that point. But just to
Honorable
advise
Member, you may
a-
have to, I know the mask is muffling a bit, you may have to increase the volume.
Oh, sorry. It's on. I had wanted to ask a question the same time as the Honourable Member Patterson on the same head. So I'll ask that in a second, but just for the Honourable Member's enlightenment, when the Office of the Prime Minister's budget was being discussed on Monday, this was on this particular line item was in the Prime Minister's budget under Capital, because it has been transferred to the Office of the Prime Minister. So you could have asked your questions there. Can I then go on to my question? And that is
Mr. Chair,
based on
Mr. Chair,
the...
on a point of order.
On a point of order, what did I say wrong?
Can you please state the point
Come
of
off
order?
of it. Jeez. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman, the Honourable Prime Minister spoke about the 1.9 billion. We are still having problems with blackout. Could the Honourable Member say what is the state of the substations which this money would have been invested in at Canefield, Onvoac, Good Hope, and Sophia in terms of what was done thus far in 2020, because this budget was being expended from the earlier part of the year? Could you give us an update? Have these substations been improved? Work has been done to what has been the $1.9 billion for 2020.
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chair, I regret that I cannot inform this honorable House that we have had any significant improvements as yet based upon these interventions. And over the next coming months, as we continue to examine what is really taking place and make the necessary adjustments, this House and the nation will be advised as what is being done to improve the delivery and supply of electricity to our consumers. But
Thank
I
you,
regret
Honorable.
that at this stage, even with this kind of intervention, we are still playing with the problems of the past.
Thank you, Honorable Member, Honorable Minister, Honorable Member, Mr. Charlie.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Project code 2606900, Sustainable Energy Program. Could the Honorable Minister relate to the Honorable House how is the Sustainable Energy Program helping the hinterland electricity supply, and what is the status of the Hinterland Electrification Company Incorporated?
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chair, I will ask my colleague to assist me in answering that, since it is a project that I've had him working on since we have assumed office, Mr.
Thank you, Honorable Minister, Honorable Minister Dar.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, Minister Jill. So, to the honorable member who asked the question. So the project at Cato, it's a working project progress. This project have a renewed date for completion in 2021. Right? With relation to, so there's nothing generated out of Cato right now. The project cost is 2.25 million US. 10% mobilization was paid for $225,188, and there's some other payments in the pipeline to continue the project, but it will be, the estimated completion date is in 2021. With regards to the other part of the question that speaks to the Hinterland Electrification Company, Mr. Patterson, I'm here now. I will answer you, sir. That project, Honorable Member Mr. Patterson, I'm here now. You can direct your questions to me. Thank you, Mr. Minister Edgel, for giving me the opportunity here. So this particular agency, HECI, let me speak, you had your chance. HECI, that agency benefited from $2.9 billion subvention in 2019. Under the FMAA, that requires 248 million per month if you deal with the one trip. So legally, that 2020, you cannot surpass 248 million per month. If you multiply that by 9 months, you can never go past 2.9 billion. In 2020, the total subvention is requested here is 5.3 billion. There is a shortfall of 2.8 billion. Legally, there is no way that you can legally fund the electrification program, which is the HECI and the seven other interland electrification company. Legally, you could not have funded them in 2020 because of the constraints placed upon the 112 provision under section 36, 1, 2, 3, and 4 of the FMA. I hope I have provided an adequate answer to you, sir, and the honorable member of you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister, Honorable Member, Mr. Patterson.
Sir, Mr. Chair, I just want to be guided by you, sir. When the Prime Minister answered, you, sir, instructed that he's only answering on what's in front of him, which is for the last 3 months. This program that I was acting on was transferred from public infrastructure. And you said I would have an opportunity to act on the public infrastructure. So you're now saying to me, because it's zero, so therefore the nation has no opportunity whatsoever.
You're checking the wrong place.
So I just want to know, when I asked, you said the Prime Minister only answering for the last 3 months.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Member, I think that I outlined the process which you can continue asking questions in the National Assembly, not only for the members, but it also goes public. Thank you very much. Honorable members, I now put the question that for the sum stated for Agency 32, Ministry of Public Infrastructure, Program 321, Policy Development and Administration, Capital Expenditure, forms part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The sum thus forms part of the estimates. Honorable members, can we now turn to pages 228 and 229, program 322, Public Works. And I propose the question that the sum stated for Agency 32, Ministry of Public Infrastructure, program 322, Public Works, current expenditure forms part of the estimate. I now put a question that the sum stated for Agency 32, Ministry of Public Infrastructure, Program 322, Public Works, forms part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The sum stated now forms part of the estimates. We can turn to page 648 to 650. And I propose the question that the sum stated for Agency 32, Ministry of Public Infrastructure, Program 322, Public Works, Capital Expenditure, now forms part of the estimate. Honorable Member, Mr.
So,
Patrick.
Mr. Chair, I assume that on agency codes, project codes 1101, 200, and 111300, that the House cannot inquire on the expenditure for the Burbage Bridge, nor the.
No, sir, what we are saying here, there
No
is
problem, sir. No,
no allocation. Please, sir, you asked a question of the speaker,
yeah, man.
and I'm just responding. Thank you.
No, that's not.
As we say, there is zero allocation,
So,
there is
Mr. Chair, I can't ask why is there not. Can I ask why is there not an allocation for the Burbage Bridge?
Honorable members, I said earlier this morning that the protocol is when the speaker speaks, the speaker gets priority. The speaker was speaking, yet being interrupted. Honorable member, I continue with what I've said. If there is zero allocation next to a head, there is no estimate to question. It's zero. There is no estimate. We're here considering the estimates for 2020. And so we can't question zero. Remember, the remit of this house is to look at the estimates and we can amend. But if there is nothing, there is nothing to consider. I will allow the honorable member to make an observation, and if he has a question on a program and the minister is prepared to answer, I will allow. Honorable member, Mr. Patterson, please.
Mr. Chair, I was just inquiring why is there zero allocation
Thank you very much, Honorable.
for the Burbage Bridge maintenance program? As
Thank
you
you
know,
very
it's not a
much.
Burbage Bridge. The pontoons have not been maintained
Thank
in
you very much,
14
Honorable
years.
member. Honorable Minister, would you like to respond?
Mr. Chair, it is strange that the person who was responsible for this sector is the person asking these questions. The Burbage Bridge receives a subsidy under subsidy to local organizations, and I'm advised that the maintenance subsidy along with the other aspect is all included in the one subsidy for the Berbice Bridge.
And you're going to direct us the way that is in there.
That will be under 6321.
Thank, thank, thank you very much, Honorable Member Mr. Patterson. Honorable members, I know, Honorable Member Mr. Patterson. Honorable Member Mr. Shearer. Volume, microphone. Thank you.
Yes, 1404100 miscellaneous roads and drainage, $2.082 billion for roads and drains in various communities and payment of retention for a number of regions 1 to 10. Could we get an idea of some of the major roads? I'm sure there are many, but could we have an idea of the major roads that have benefit already, as this is money that's allocated under public infrastructure, or will be completed by the end of 2020 for this allocation?
Thank you, Honorable Minister of Parliamentary Affairs, Honorable Minister of Public Works.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member, for the question. I'm sure that's a question the Honorable Member Patterson would have avoided in asking, because this is monies that have already been spent for the year 2020. And while I don't want to elaborate too much on the reasons why we are there, I'll just indicate that out of this sum, 2.084 $2,804,121,000 were rollovers from 2017. So we are talking here about underperformance.
Honorable Member, Parliamentary Language, Honorable Members.
Hello.
Mr. Chair.
Don't control your voice.
So I will tell you about the performance of this line item. And I don't enjoy the luxury, sir, of honorable members who could play around with the truth. I don't enjoy that luxury. Myconi Branch Road in region number 5. This is since 2017. Right? So we have 3.85 million. Access Road, Trafalgar number 5. That is since 2017 as well, sir.
So,
and then, sir, we have a whole long list. So I could go through. Golden Fleece, Surrey Hospital Road, Queenstown Sawmill Road, rehabilitation and construction of Windsor Castle Back Street, construction of Riverstone Nursery School Road, rehabilitation, construction of Colin Back Street, Pump Station, Lot 62, construction of Queenstown Bus Shed and Second Cross Street, Lot 63, construction of the Devon to Castle East Bank, and that's all of that is in Region 2. In Region 3, roads at Dikindren, Greenwich Park, Iplock, Stourbville, Denamstel, campaigning. Best West Village, Breeden Hoop Entrance, Middle Street, Wooden Tent, Neems Road, La Parfait Harmony, Phase 3, Bell West Road, Sisters Village, Riseland, Vive la Force, Denamstel. Mr. Chair, the list is a long one, but what I'm indicating to you is that while this is making a call on the 2020 budget, these were works that were supposed to have been completed since 2019. And what is important, sir, and I'm sure the honorable member would not want this question to be asked, he should have asked it, is when were the contracts for a lot of these roads signed? Because this is also a major problem in this house. And it speaks to the lack of implementation and the lack of following systems, because a lot of these contracts were entered into after the no confidence vote of December 21st, 2018 was successfully passed in the National Assembly, when the government was in a caretaker mode and ought not to be entering into contracts. And that is the reflection of why we're having to put all of this in the budget, because it is monies that were spent that ought not to have been spent, because it had no parliamentary oversight and no legitimacy, because the government was in a caretaker status.
Thank you.
And Mr. Chairman,
thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Shearer.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair, for allowing me to have the floor. 1404500, Highway Improvement East Coast, Demerara. This is a project that has been going on now for almost 7 years. Could the honorable member please advise whether this investment of almost 6 billion will bring a completion to the road, or is there, this is the East Coast Highway, sir. And how much of the money, 2.59 billion, has already been spent in 2020 prior to coming? I've given it already, you must listen. So that 2.59 billion, sir, how much has been spent as of now?
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chair, thank you, Honorable Member, for the question. Mr. Chair, on this project code, this is the Better Hope to Belfield 4-lane and upgrade, a project that was started when we were last in government, sir. And even though it was left to be successfully completed, and we had a public opening of this road saying that it was completed, sorry, it's not completed. The road is still not completed. So we had a photo up of a brand new road, something that was delivered under the APNU AFC, and all they were left to do was to complete the road. The financing was available from China Exim Bank. The widening and all of that was done. It's a matter of engaging a contractor and getting it done. So there are still works to be done on this road. Signage, traffic lights, and sir, you may be aware that this road has also claimed too many lives. And when we come under the Ministry of Public Works proper, maybe we could discuss some more on this road, on the allocations that will be spent under the Ministry of Public Works for the rest of the year.
Thank you, Honorable Minister.
Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Shearer.
The 1404700, This is the road network expansion project, and it's to do with 553.5 million, 100 million, sorry, allocated to the Sheriff Street Mandela Road. It's an IDB project, and apparently $2.7 billion has already been spent on this stretcher road, and we're nowhere near completion. Could the honourable member say that what is the status of the Sheriff Street Mandela Avenue Road, and will this 553 million, will it conclude? Will it bring to a closure or the completion of that stretcher road, or will there be more money needed?
Honorable Minister.
Yes, honorable member, thank you for that question. Mr. Chair, the Sheriff Mandela upgrade was also a program and a project that was left when we were in government. This is a 66 million US dollar loan funded by the IDB. This road should have already been delivered. And those of us who drove there to come here today would know that it is still not yet delivered. Since assuming office, sir, I had the opportunity to be briefed on this matter. As a matter of fact, when we took office, there was no work that was being done on this road. And it was not only because of COVID. That was only one of the reasons. The other reason is because of non-compliance with environmental standards. The IDB had to shut disbursements down on this project. It was badly mismanaged. We have since, assuming office, both consultants and contractor and our own project people at the ministry engaged on this, and I'm happy to let the nation know today that work, visibly you can see, work is back there, being done. The two bridges that needs to be completed, there are two subcontractors that are engaged in doing those bridges, and my understanding is that before of the end of this year, you will see paving of the road, the insertion of asphalted concrete. Just to mention as well, sir, because of the deteriorated state of the road, remedial works have to actually be done before you can even go to asphalting and setting things in stage. So the contractor is back on the job. Two subcontractors are working on the bridges. If the issue of getting specialists from China in is a problem, I've already assured the contractor that the Civil Aviation Authority will be prepared to facilitate special charter flights to ensure, following all of the COVID-19 measures, because we will not use COVID-19 as an excuse for non-delivery of services to the people of Guyana. They deserve to have the road, and we are working towards that, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister.
Minister?
Do I see the microphone for the Honorable Minister of Parliamentary Affairs on?
Oh, yes, thank you very much, sir. I would like to go on to the next one, 1501300 sea defenses. 640 million has been put aside for this year. In the light of climate change and the erosion of our seashores, we have seen deterioration and more flooding and inundation of the sea coming into these, particularly my Coney area. Could you say if the $640 million will be able to bring some mediation to the risk and threats that the areas of my Coney faces?
Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much, sir. Sir, Guyana, because of how it is situated, and because we are heavily an agricultural producing nation, we have to pay attention to our sea and our river defenses. And whenever they are compromised, not only the immediate flooding of households is a problem, but when that saline water gets on the land, it interferes with productivity for years. So the working on our sea defenses and river defenses are very important. Under this line item under the Ministry of Public Infrastructure, which we inherited, these are projects that were already issued and being implemented at our arrival at the ministry. But to answer the honorable member, you will see that in our budgetary allocations for sea defenses, we are expending significant sums to safeguard life and livelihoods. And to add to that, sir, one of the policy directions that we have given is that in as much as there is currently the use of drones to monitor our sea and our river lines, I have instructed, based upon our policy direction, that we start re-engaging local rangers who could actually walk and see the cracks, the local people who could almost observe way ahead of time. So we're not only responding to emergencies, but we be able to properly plan. For example, Mr. Chairman, when we had the high tide quite recently, I think it was last week, or last week, we had a significant high tide. We had cocos that were blown, we had mangroves that were rooted up, and if we have to bring in a better system of inspection, informing, so that we could have planning. So sea and river defenses, we could put aside all of the politics, because the water don't discriminate against anybody. It's everybody that is affected. And this is an issue that the Air Finales administration will be paying serious attention to, ensuring our sea and river defenses are intact. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Shearer.
You're not giving you updated information.
That's right. There's just not enough space on these tables for all the people. Sorry about that. There's $2.4 billion under 1501400. And when you read the description, it just says payment of retention, provision of sea and river defenses in critical areas. Following on what you just said, Minister, what are some specific areas that will be addressed urgently with this 2.4 billion, or have some of these already been, some of these funds already been expended, and where?
Honorable Minister. Honorable members, just for information, these expenditures covered the period January 1st to September 30th. I think we're still 7 days to the end of it.
Mr. Chair, the answer to the honorable member is that substantial sums of these monies are rollover. Again, 1,966,037,000 of this amount is in rollover. The rest is basically doing works or works that were done in areas, and I could give you some ideas, at IFLOC, at Lenora, the Namstel, Good Intent, Sanssouci Wakenham, Del Plain Wakenham, Legwan, Stourbville, De William, Tupman's Grove, and these are just to name some of the places where small contracts of maintaining the Seine River defenses were executed. But the majority of it was rollover contracts.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Honorable members, I now put the question that the sum stated honorable members, that the sum stated for Agency 32, Ministry of Public Infrastructure, Program Code 322, Capital Expenditure, forms part of the estimate. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The sum thus stated now forms part of the estimate. And we turn to pages 230 and 231, and we are now at 10:51, 2 minutes into the final hour for the time allocated for the consideration of these two agencies. I now propose the question that the sum stated for Agency 32, Ministry of Public Infrastructure, Program 343, Transportation, current expenditure, forms part of the estimate. I now put a question that the sum stated for Agency 32, Ministry of Public Infrastructure, Program 323, Transportation, current expenditure, forms part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The sum stated now forms part of the estimate. We can go to page 650 and 651. And I propose the question that the sum stated for Agency 32, Program 313, Transportation, forms part of the estimate. We are at page 650, 651, Capital, Program Agency 332, Ministry of Public Infrastructure, Program 323, Transportation. Honorable Member, Mr. Datadin.
Mr. Chairman, project code 1601300, the CJIA modernization project. Could the Minister give us an update on the current status of this project?
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chair, I thank the honorable member for the question. But I think, Mr. Chair, this is one thing that every one of us in this House as lawmakers should hold a common view on. Guyana must get value for money on any project that is implemented. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chair, this project had its revised completion date 31st of December 2018. Original completion date was supposed to be since 2015. We are at September 2020, and we don't have this project completed as yet. Within the first 14 days of assuming office, myself and my colleague engaged the consultants, the contractor, the project engineer, and the CGIA officials themselves. And we did a thorough walkthrough and investigation of what really are the problems, why this airport is not complete. Last week, Friday night, I brought to this House's attention, sir, the massive reduction in the scope that was signed. And I would like to remind this House, sir, that when the PPPC left government in May of 2015, we had 138 million US dollars design and build contract, a loan from the China Exim Bank, and 12 million US dollars to be provided from the government of Guyana, $150 million contract. This should have seen an extended runway, new, not rehabilitated, new terminal building with a capacity to accommodate 8 air bridges, extended aprons, facilities for power generation and fuel storage, a modernized airport. When we left government, that was the contract that was in place. Mr. Chairman, I require an apology from this member at this time, who is referring to me as a liar because I will speak of him in the most degrading manner if he does not withdraw it. Mr. Speaker, I demand an apology from the Honorable David Patterson for referring to me as a liar, because I will expose him here today, sir. I demand an apology.
Honorable Member, Mr. Patterson, this is the third time, in spite of 2 observations I've made with respect to your use of that particular word, and now you use it again. I think you ought to offer not only the honorable member but the entire House an apology. You can withdraw an apology, sir. Could you please be asking for an apology to the honorable member?
We withdraw the word
and an apology.
Economical.
An apology, sir.
Sir, we withdraw the word as you asked.
An apology.
Sir, we withdraw the word.
Thank you very much, sir, for your observation. The
Thank
House
you.
will have to deal with this afterwards. Honorable Minister, please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, we left government in May 2015. The Chinese contractor made a claim for 37 million US dollars that was not granted by us. We left government in May, and by July, after the APNU AFC government came to office, under the stewardship of the Honorable David Patterson, a settlement for 23 million US dollars plus was met after 3 days of negotiations. And sir,
Mr.
the
Chair,
details of those negotiations and the results are available.
Mr. Chair.
And sir,
Honorable member, are you raising a point
sir,
of
I'm
order?
raising a point to stand in order for safety.
Yes, can you please now state what the point of order is?
Sir, well, elucidation. Sir, the point of order in elucidation.
Honorable member, the honorable minister will have to yield, but I have to ask him.
I'm not prepared to kneel.
Honorable member, the honorable minister is not prepared to yield.
Sir, when we have honorable members being discourteous,
thank you very
I
much.
don't think those courtesies should be extended. I'm not yielding. And sir, that contract because of the claim that was made, that was negotiated by a team under the supervision of the then Minister of Public Infrastructure, saw an addendum to the contract, which meant 23 million US dollars was subtracted from the contract because of that claim. So from the time that addendum was made, the whole world knew you couldn't get the airport that you signed for at 138 plus 12. So what was the deal? Lots of things that should have been happening at the airport didn't happen. You didn't get a new terminal building. And I noticed the honorable member made a public disclosure about an option that came to him when he tried to say that I was being untruthful. But Mr. Speaker, in that option that he met, did not allow for rehabilitative terminal. It required a new terminal to facilitate 7 air bridges. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman, and in July, those negotiations were completed, and by October, we had a new amended contract. The state of affairs are that rather than having a modern airport, we had a rehabilitated airport. Let me tell you, Mr. Speaker, the airlines that operate there have no space for offices that were built or remodeled. They are still operating in some old areas without proper facilities. The roof is leaking. Sir, there were a whole lot of reusing. A contract that was supposed to be design and build became a rehabilitation work. And this National Assembly is not only the first time that they are hearing about this project, because while we sat in opposition benches, we questioned the honorable member while he was the minister at meetings like these in the Committee of Supply. But now the reality is there, sir. We even had to come to this National Assembly for monies to be appropriated separately from the 150 million that was already available to purchase 2 more air bridges. So even the additional 2 air bridges that are there, it put the project cost up by more than $300 million. That was appropriated by this National Assembly in the last Parliament. Mr. Speaker, what is worse is that now we have 4 air bridges when we should have had 8. But even the 4 are dysfunctional at times. And that is the state of affairs. Mr. Speaker, just a few days ago, His Excellency the President and His Excellency the Ambassador of China visited the airport along with the project engineer, the contractor, and the consultant, where His Excellency had an opportunity to see firsthand for himself the state of affairs at the airport. We are confident, sir, that with those interventions and based upon commitments that His Excellency the Ambassador of the Republic of China made when he visited with me, sir, that the Chinese government expresses the same amount of concern as the Guyanese people, because they are concerned about their own partnership and image that a company from China is embroiled in a matter where such a national project is under such kinds of scrutiny. I can assure the National Assembly and the honorable member that is asking the question, we will continue to engage China Harbor, the government and people of China, and out of that collaboration, whatever needs to be rectified to ensure that we get a modern Chedijagan International Airport, it will come to pass under this administration. Mr. Speaker, secondly, I indicated to this honorable House on Friday night when I closed the debate that based upon the estimates coming in from consultants that were engaged by the Chedijagan International Airport Corporation outside of the modernization project. This is not a modernization project now, this is outside, just to fix things that were not included in the contract. We will need in excess of $1.3 billion to do those works. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman, it's a matter that is under active consideration. We are not happy about it, but with our leadership and our approach to doing business, guided by principles of value for money and good partnership, we expect to get this project back on its feet to deliver for the people of Guyana. I thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. Let us please keep our eye on the time allocated for this particular head. Honorable Members, this is a good time for me to put the question that the sum stated for Agency 32, Program 323, Capital Expenditure forms part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The sum thus stated now stands part of the estimates. Can we move to Agency 31? Honorable members, I propose the question that the sum stated for Agency 31, Ministry of Public Works, Program 311, Policy Development and Administration, current expenditure forms part of the estimates. Honorable Member, Mr. Patterson.
Thank you, sir. Just a note, sir, that we have 50 minutes left and the opposition has asked 6 questions. However, it is being streamed live so everyone could know, sir. So can I use the remaining 50 minutes to go over what I anticipate to be 24, almost $30 billion? Can I ask quickly turn to 6321?
6321.
We are at agency code 311, sir.
Yes, sir.
Subsidy to local organizations.
So we're on page 598.
Pardon?
Page 598.
Correct, sir.
Go ahead. On 598.
Can I continue?
Continue.
Yes, sir. So the first item there is the Berbice Bridge Company. $58 million.
Is it 58 or 54?
$54 million.
Thank you very much.
Can the honorable member say what is that money allocated for?
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chairman, the $54,200,000 represents transfers to the bridge company for the last quarter of the year, because during the period January to September, they would have received $112,104,000, and this $54 million is just the transfers for the remainder of the year to deal with the issues that they deal with based upon these transfers.
Honorable Member, Mr. Patterson.
Mr. Chair, can I ask for further clarification? If this $54 million is not the subsidy provided by the government for the 10% reduction in tolls on the Berbice Bridge?
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chairman, I'm sure the honorable member knows the answer to that, and it's yes.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Patterson.
Mr. Chair, can the honorable member inform this House why, um, um, if his government is considering any further relief to the people of Region 6 and Region 5 during this COVID pandemic, since if a Barbadian crosses the bridge 4 times, sir, that is 40% of the 25,000, the same line item, 40% of the 25,000 subsidy. So is his government considering, and why haven't they done any increases, sir, in the subsidy for the bridge?
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, this allows me the opportunity to answer the honorable member.
You have a floor, sir.
About government's interventions in responding to the needs of people in COVID-19 times. Mr. Speaker, number one, our government's intervention is not getting people to come and look for us and can't find us. Our government's intervention is going to them. So that's the first thing. Their travel costs is not a matter of concern, because when this government distributes goods and services and meet people, we don't cause them to have to expend. The government carries the goods and services to the people. So that's the first thing I want to answer the honorable members as it relates to the Borbis Bridge School. Secondly, sir, he will see, as it relates to the COVID-19 pandemic and forms of assistance, he will see a well-structured, oiled, transparent, and accountable machinery visiting homes in every region, delivering those goods and services to the people of Guyana. He will see that very shortly, sir. And thirdly, the issue that I guess that he wants to get at without going around it is if the government will continue the subsidy that was started. This budget itself tells you that the subsidy has not been removed, because our government do not impose hardships on people. That is why in our budget measures, and many of those bills are coming to the Parliament next week for debate, it is reversals of hardship measures that have been imposed on the people of Guyana by the APNU AFC government. So when we do business, sir, when we serve the people of Guyana, we make life easy for them and we give them a path to prosperity. Thank you very much, sir.
Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Patterson.
Right, sir. May I remind the honorable gentleman that the AP and UFC to give the subsidy in the first place and lower the costs was there since 2009 to 2015. But, sir, on the same line item, Mr. Chair.
Honorable Member, please.
Thank you, sir. There is currently an order in place on the Borbis Bridge. I'm talking on the subsidy, as you know you would allow, which has prohibited the Borbis Bridge Corporation from increasing the tolls 400%. I'm asking the honorable member if the order still remains and if his government will continue keeping the order in place, because it was proven legal by the courts to stop them raising the fares to the people in Region 6 and Region 5.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chair, I'm being surprised all morning by the questions being put by the honorable member, but I thank him for the question. The PPPC administration is a law-abiding administration. We abide by the law. We don't break the law. We don't try to find ways around the law. We don't try to have mischievous representations of the law. And I would like to assure the people of Guyana and all those who use the Borbis Bridge, until such a time there is a superior order or the revocation of a current order, this PPPC government will continue to abide by the law until such a time.
Thank you,
Thank you
Honorable
very much,
Minister.
sir.
Honorable Member, Mr. Patterson. I acknowledge Honorable Member, Mr. Patterson.
Oh, so yes, the same line item, sir, that I was
Go
on
ahead,
before. So Transport and Harbors Department, $110 million. I mean, when the honorable member endorsed, and I have it written here, that the Transport and Harbors are indebted by $945 million. And of that $945 billion, I have him stating here, sir, honorable member, 323 million are for the NIS. Can I ask the honorable member, whoever's answering, how much of this $110 million is going towards repaying the debt that they so acknowledge for Transport and Harbors? The 945, and in particular the monies for NIS.
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chair, I reiterate again, I thank the honorable member for the question. This money is appropriated here, sir, continues to be provision for fuel subsidy to ensure that the traveling public that utilizes the services of our ferries and our waterways continue to benefit from the fares that they are presently paying, in keeping with the policy of ensuring affordability to the population. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Patterson.
Sir, sir, can the honorable member say, thank you for your answer. Can the honorable member say that if his government has a plan to ensure that Transport and Harbors becomes profitable? And when, if so, will he budget sums for that and late in this parliament?
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chairman, I'm intrigued, I should say so. Let me address this issue of profitability and modernization of the Transport and Harbors Department. Let me get the light. Mr. Chairman, the honorable member who asked the question presided over this sector. And let me tell you what we met when we got into office. The Transport and Harbors Department owes the Guyana Revenue Authority $469,980,000. They owe the National Insurance Scheme for the workers $331,285,000. They owe the Guyana Public Service Credit Union $2,343,000. They owe the Amalgamated Transport and General Cooperative Credit Union $7,132,000. Mr. Speaker, in total, the liabilities of Transport and Harbors Department inherited by the PPPC administration when Irfan Ali was sworn in as president on the 2nd of August 2020 was $815,231,000. Congratulations to the honorable member. Mr. Chairman, having said that, the Transport and Harbors Department provides a useful service. One of the things that we wanted to do was to ensure that we have modernized ferries, which would mean reduced travel time, better fuel consumption, and more comfort for passengers and goods. In 2014, then President Ramatar visited India, and we got a line of credit and a soft loan totaling 18 million US dollars to be able to build a new ferry to go to Region 1. 5 years later, Mr. Speaker, as I stand here, the ferry was still on a desk in a document with controversy and with no resolution. Within 10 days of assuming office, His Excellency, the President, the Vice President, yours truly, and my colleague minister, engaged the Indian government about this troubled project. And I'm happy to let the National Assembly know today that that $18 million that was lying there for 5 years is now being utilized to bring a modern ferry to Guyana. We have resolved the issues. We have resolved the issues. Secondly, sir, we are also working to ensure that our current fleet that we have, even though aged, remains in operation. And yes, honorable member, on my desk right now is a review to compare the maintenance cost, especially with the acquisition of spares for those old vessels, to compare it for over a period if purchasing new vessels is not more profitable. And that desk review is currently being done to ensure that we could get that done. You will also see, sir, in this budget, that while we have private sector operators with river taxis, and private sector must be encouraged, we are not fighting them. They must be properly regulated. They must observe the rules. And in the COVID-19 environment, they must follow the protocol. The stellings that we use for the docking and where people have to use to get their goods and themselves moving along the riverway also have to be maintained and in many cases modernized. So I can give the honorable member in this House the assurance that having to deal with the liabilities and the non-performance of the last 5 years in getting things along, we have already engaged the management of the Transport and Harbors Department, and we are looking at all possibilities of making this sector modern, cost-efficient, and affordable. We don't want to have to impose hardships on people, but things must be sustainable in a modern world in which we are delivering. So we will find that balance, and at appropriate time, we will come to this National Assembly. The honorable member will have his say by way of a debate, and we'll be able to do what is best for Guyana. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Patterson.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Just want to return to, before I go on to Transport and Harbors, to the Bobby's Bridge Corporation, sir, with its 6381. Can the honorable member, and the honorable member's response to me earlier, as you can recall, he said that the cost on the cost for maintenance and etc. is included in the subvention for Bobby's Bridge, as you can recall there. He then responded to me just now to say that out of $54 million is for the subsidy in the tolls. Can I ask the honorable member, seeing that the pontoons in the Bobby's River have not been, the Bobby's Bridge maintained in now, sir, next year will be the 15th year, and they're supposed to be maintained every 5 years. Can I ask the as you said, sir, we could not talk with $120 million to that. Can I ask the honorable member, where is the money to maintain the Berbice Bridge?
Thank you, Honorable Member, Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chair, this allocation, which comes under subsidy and contributions to local organizations, allows the government to transfer money to an organization. It is the organization that executes its work plan. Based upon agreements that are in place, monies are provided for subsidizing the toll. As of this present time, it is still the responsibility of the Berbice Bridge Corporation to maintain the structure that you pay a toll to cross. So whether it is monies that we give them to subsidize tolls they use to do the maintenance, or is monies that they generate from the paying public they use to do maintenance. But when this whole issue of the Berbice Bridge is adequately reviewed, the honorable member may see, and I say may see, allocations in the 2021 budget. May.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Ms. Annette Ferguson.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, if I'm to turn our attention to page 598, details of subsidies and contributions to local organizations, and specifically to the subsidies for the Transport and Harbors Department. I know we have here 110,400. I know the AP and UFC government would have made it possible to place 2 water taxis out in the Berbice area to serve persons, be it the elderly, school children, nurses, between Region 5 and 6 respectively. My question to the honorable member is whether what portion of money from this allocation will be appropriated to ensure the continuation of that service.
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chair, may I point out to you, the honorable member is asking a question about what is not in the budget. I have clearly said that this subsidy is going to the Berbice Bridge. I don't know that the Berbice Bridge operates water taxis. Thank you very much, sir.
Honorable Member,
Mr. Chair, just let me clarify the question that was asked to the honorable member. It has nothing to do with the Berbice Bridge operation. The question relates specifically to that of the Transport and Harbors Department. Earlier, you did say that these monies will go to the for fuel purchase for the 2 ferries. So what I'm asking is whether what appropriation from this sum will be going towards the 2 water taxis out in regions 5 and 6 respectively. Just shut your mouth, man.
Okay, Honorable Member, I think that particular...
Yes, sir. So can the honorable member explain what portion will be going towards the water taxis, right, from this sum? Thank you.
Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. To the honorable member, there are no specific allocations for any specific vessel. We give money to Transport and Harbors Department for fuel subsidy. And I'm sure while the honorable member is talking about water taxis that cross from Region 5 to 6, she should express similar concern for the residents of the Berbice River who require a service all the way down to DeVelt and Sand Hills and Ipini and Kimbia and Wairuni and all of those areas. I'm sure that she would also have interest in providing services to those people. We will be addressing ensuring people get transportation and we will continue to work with Transport and Harbor, sir. This is for fuel. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. Honorable Member, Mr. Patterson.
Yes, Mr. Chair, thank you very much. Well, two questions, on the same line item. Is the honorable member aware, I have it here, sir, I will let him, that the Barbados Bridge Corporation wrote to the Ministry of then Public Infrastructure and said that the plans that they had about using a jack-up barge, I'm asking a question, sir, that the plan that they had to use a jack-up barge cannot work, and they need the assistance of the Ministry of Public Infrastructure at the time to do the maintenance of the Barbados Bridge. I'm asking him that's question number one. Sir, and question number two, is the honorable member aware with the matter of on the Transport and Harbors on the same line item that you mentioned, the ocean-going vessel from India? That is a public tender. Two tenders from India provided by the government of India tendered. National MPTAB evaluated the tender twice, as well as the Public Procurement Commission, and it is awarded to the highest responsive bidder. The lowest bidder, which he is now saying, bid failed because, sir, bid failed because, one, the type of ship is an inland water ship. The hull of the ship cannot go in the ocean. They excluded several other important elements of the contract. Unlike the two Chinese ferries which we inherited, which we spent $500 million, is the honorable minister saying, I'm saying now, and it's unlikely that his government is going to accept an inferior product which cannot work because the design is inadequate, the builders cannot build it. MPTAB have awarded it to the rightful bidder. So those two questions.
Honorable Minister.
Yes, sir. Let me deal with the first question first, sir. Had the honorable minister practiced what
The Honorable
happened?
Minister, speaking about yourself.
I didn't get it, sir.
I said this with the Honorable Minister.
The honorable member, sir. Had the honorable member practiced what takes place in democracies and had prepared a handover document, his question would have been legitimate here today. Mr. Chairman, the issue that the gentleman is raising, I must say, it has not yet reached my desk, so I don't want to
Thank you very
pronounce
much.
on it. And the second issue, sir, I'm disappointed that an honorable member will stand in this house to express preference of one contractor over another. I didn't know that he was an agent of a contractor, when I just simply said that the issues surrounding the non-issuance of a contract is being resolved. I don't know which contractor will build the boat yet. I don't know, but he is emphasizing a preference for one contractor over another, and I'm asking the nation to take note that an honorable member has now become an agent for a contractor to provide goods and
Honorable
services.
Member, I think the standing orders talk about imputing.
My apologies, sir. My apologies.
Thank you very much, sir. Honorable Member, Mr. Patterson.
Mr. Chair, I would just like to, before I ask my next question, I'd just like to state for the record that I handed a 600-page document over to the Honorable Minister on my and the fortunate thing about this, sir, is a public document. I've made it public. Right? It's in the press. So, sir, I would ask, right? I would ask that the Hansard records that 600-page document, handover document, sir.
No, but you're saying, Honorable Member, that you handed that over to the Honorable Minister.
The Honorable Secretariat, and I confirm.
No, you said the Honorable Minister.
Minister Secretariat.
Okay, now you're saying
yes,
Secretariat.
And I confirm, okay, sir. I confirm it was placed on the minister's desk.
Mr. Chair,
Honorable Minister, please.
I would like to put on public record, I have never seen a document, a handover document from the Honorable Member Patterson. No member of my secretariat have ever brought such a document to my attention, and I consider what the minister is seeking to do here today is fasting and expulsion, and I take personal
Honorable
offense.
members, I trust that the Honorable Minister and the Honorable Member can clarify and so inform us later if they so wish. Honorable members, I think this is an appropriate time to put the question that the sum stated for Agency 31, Program 311, current expenditure forms part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The sum thus stated now stands part of the estimate. Honorable members, can we now turn to page 652? The same program head 311 on the capital expenditure, policy development and administration. I now propose the question that the sum stated for agency number 31, program 311, capital expenditure forms part of the estimates. 311, it's on page 652, agency 31, Ministry of Public Affairs. Honorable members, I now put the question that the sum stated for agency 31, program 311, policy development and administration, capital expenditure now stands part of the estimate. Do I see a microphone on? That's for the Honorable Member, Dr.
Mr.
Mahathir.
Chair,
Please.
are we looking at Agency 31 extends page 652 and 653?
Yes, we
So
652, 311. 311 has three subheads. 121, 4800. 312 straddles both pages. Maybe you have one of those Honorable Member Mahipal's type document. No, sir? Okay. So I again put the question. Honorable Member Mr. Patterson, do I see your microphone on? Thank you very much, sir. Honorable Member, I put the question that the sum stated for Agency 31, Ministry of Public Works, Program 311, Policy Development Administration, stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. We now turn to page 238 and 239. And I propose the question that the sum stated for Agency 31, Ministry of Public Works, Program 312, Public Works, current expenditure, stands part of the estimates. Thank you very much. I now put the question that the sum stated for Agency 31, Program 312, Public Works, stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. We now can go to pages 652 to 654, covering Agency 31, Program 312, Public Works. And I propose the question that the sum stated for Agency 31, Ministry of Public Works, Program 312, Public Works, capital expenditure, stands part of the estimate. The Honorable Member, Mr. Patterson.
Sir, thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll jump straight to 430-1403-800 East Coast, East Bank Road linkage. Sir, it's $51 million there. Can the Honorable Member state the exact location, I'll have to take time circle and note how time is going. I know you would. Exact location and design of this road connecting the East Coast, the road linkage on that line item. What are the links? What are the communities to be linked by this new road? Why was other certain other areas? No, I'm asking them all, sir, so you, and if you can, has the ministry done a revised traffic count on the for a revised traffic study by the new linkage? Had the minister, will the minister be able to say to me how does this reduced design affect traffic congestion, and what land acquisitions for this new road link has that been completed? And finally, sir, is the minister willing to lay in this house a map showing the areas and the land that he has acquired and the land that resides next to the proposed road link, sir? 7 questions. I asked them all 7, sir, in a hope they can get everybody in time.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member Mr. Patterson. That's quite considerate. Honorable Member, Minister of Public Works.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and thank the honorable member for the question. Mr. Chair, like many of us who traverse the roads, especially in peak hours, we know that there is major traffic congestion. And one of the ways in dealing with traffic congestion, apart from getting road users to practice the 5 C's, which is badly lacking in Guyana sometimes, is that we have to provide alternative routes so that persons don't unnecessarily have to get caught in central areas that are congested at particular times. This allocation is basically for studies where we are seeking to put in an alternative route from the East Coast Main Road coming all the way out to Eccles. This is not the India road, the road that is funded by India. This is something that the ministry. My apologies, sir. My apologies. This is the rework. This is the rework loan, I should say the rework project that we have undertaken since we are in government. 2014 we left government, sir, and there was a 50 million, 2015, thanks. We left government in 2015, and in 2014, the then President Ramatar, when he visited India, also got a $50 million US loan to deal specifically with this road. This alignment came in for consideration several times in the National Assembly. When we came to government, we met a situation where a road that was originally for 50 million turned out to be $208 million. So we sat with the Indian government and we discussed this. Nothing was moving on it. And we have established phase 1 of a 4-lane road that will begin at Ogle and come out all the way to Higgs Bosch at Eccles in the first phase, and it will be able to be funded by this $50 million that was sitting there for 5 years. So this road and this $51 million is to bring us to the final design to allow for the consultant to get this work done so that we could be able to deliver that road that is more than 5 years delayed. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Member Mr. Patterson.
Well, I thought you were going to be the one to remind him. I asked him 7 questions. Why were communities
I was
excluded?
about to, but I
Thank
noticed.
you.
Honorable Minister, the honorable member, in the interest of time, did pose a number of questions. Would you like him to restate, please?
Yes.
Honorable member, Mr.
I
Patterson,
was
can you
distracted at the
restate the
moment, sir.
remaining questions?
The interest of time, sir. Were why has the new alignment bypassed certain communities, in particular in Lodge, South North Georgetown? Have the ministry done a revised traffic count to say it out? I mean, how many cars, etc., will be coming off for the road? And how does this design ease the traffic congestion on the East Bank Road? Has the ministry done also included an upgraded design for the Higgs Bus Road, which is a dump road? Land acquisition. Has the ministry completed, if you're going to start, have you completed the land acquisition for the road, where the road is going to be? Finally, sir, I hope you get the lands, the ownership of the lands through which you are going to pass this road. And if you're willing to lay a map or a thing saying who are the persons that own the lands where the road shall be traversing.
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chair, let me assure the Honorable House that in this road that we're seeking to bring out, the connector roads, whether it's from South Georgetown or wherever the other connector roads that were supposed to be built, even if it is not funded from the Indian loan, GOG will ensure that those connector roads are established. That is the commitment that we have. Because we wouldn't build a bypass road and don't put in the connectors, then the people in those areas would not be able to benefit from it. But in continuation, sir, our intent is to produce more lanes for the movement of people. So, for example, we are going to be doing additional works on the David Street all the way to Enmore. The 2 remaining panel bridges will be removed and put them as concrete bridges. You resurface that road, so eventually you have 6 lanes as against 4 lanes. Oval Road as a main road that will have to be a connector will have to be upgraded to be able to provide that flow of traffic and the rest of it. The connector road coming out of South Georgetown will have to be done. All of those things are under consideration. And as it relates to the traffic flow, the same consultant that did the original studies for this road, rights, have provided information on the traffic flows and the rest of it, and we're being guided by those studies. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
The
Honorable.
issue of land acquisition, sir, it has to do with how you see things. The glass is either half full or half empty. We in the PPPC don't see problems, we see challenges. And we take challenges and we use them as opportunities for development. The issues of land acquisition that probably is a big issue for the APNU that they couldn't deal with, coming from our side, we believe in facilitating development as against obstructing it. And one of the ways you facilitate development is by consulting with people, engaging people, making them more aware of what is happening, and ensuring that they have opportunities that even if their lives are interrupted, it's only for a short period and they come out at the end in a winning situation. So we will be dealing with those issues in a very transparent and upfront manner for the benefit of all Guyanese. Thank you
very much, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Patterson, you have a follow-up? I notice your mic is on.
Yes, sir. Additional questions, sir. I have here, sir, infrastructure development, which is 1214990. Can I? Sir?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yes. So it's for the Diamond Car Park, Hunter Street, etc., etc., sir. There's money, there's sums included here, work for an alternate entrance to the Diamond Housing Scheme by this location as designed and implied by the APNUFC government. In this, is that included? And but so in the transparency for moving up, sir, and the Honorable Minister intend to include in its 2021 budget funds to make a alternative road from Diamond, since we are unable to do it under my administration because the reserve there was sold by the PPP government to one of their private developer, not one of them. I pull them back.
Thank you.
So will this project see an alternative entrance to Diamond, sir?
Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and thank the Honorable Member for his question. Mr. Chair, the House will be advised that this emergency budget is what we will spend in 3 months. We are here to develop Guyana over a 5-year period. And yes, the issue of alternative entrances and exits to Diamond are important issues, and they will be addressed very soon. Mr. Patterson will have, the Honorable Member will have the opportunity to question us in 2021 budget. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Ms. Ferguson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairman. On the same line item, I noticed in the project detail, you have item 2, installation of LED lights at sections of West Coast, Demerara, Quarantine, and Escribble Coast Public Road. Can the Honorable Member be generous to lay over what or which communities will be benefiting from these lights? With regards to project code 1404600. 1404900. Rehabilitation of public and access roads. I know the sum of $120 million will be spent in a few areas. I think Blackbush, for example, and some other areas that I wouldn't want to go to at the moment. Can the Honorable Member lay over to the Assembly a disaggregation of the amount for the various areas?
Honorable Minister.
And also,
Mr. Chair, I think I should answer what is on the floor, and then we could continue. So
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Get confused. On the project code 1214900, the issue of the lights, the Honorable Member, on the west coast of Demerara, there will be the installation of 48 lights from farm to Organstein. As it relates to Berbice, it will be the installation of 54 lamps from number 54 to 57. And on the highway, on the Essequibo coast, it will be the installation of 34 lamps from Collin to Abraham Zoo. On the other question that you raised on the line item 144,900, it is 5 activities, so I could give it to the House very easily. In Region 6, Blackbush Boulder, those of you who have been there recently and you've had cause to be there, you will know the condition of that road, and that's 30 million. Rehabilitation of sections of free and easy access road, 18 million. Rehabilitation of sections of the East Bank Demerara Public Road, that's 30 million. Rehabilitation of sections of Burma Road, Maikoni, 18 million. and rehabilitation of sections of the Hoop Access Road, Mahaika, 24 million, a total of 120 million. Thank you.
Honorable Member Ms. Patterson. So, Ms. Ferguson, sorry. Honorable Member Ms. Ferguson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, while I do appreciate the honorable member, reading out for the House and perhaps the viewers the areas to benefit from these allocations, I've heard asked whether we can have copies so that we can keep a track on how things are going. I now turn the honorable member to project code 1601000 Stellings. I know we have several stellings to benefit from this allocation of $58 million. Kumaka, Bartica, and I think Purika, if my memory serves me accurate. Can the honorable member disaggregate for us the sums for the various projects? And it would be good if we can have copies after you would have provided the House with the information. Thank you.
Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much, sir. I did remark that our users, whether it's by private sector water taxis or the THB vessels, we need to improve on our stellings. For the rest of this year, the honorable member will know in Region 7, we are going to be doing some work on the Bartica stelling, a total of $7 million. We'll be doing some work on the Purika stelling, a total of $18 million. A rehabilitation of the Supernam stelling, $24 million. And doing some work at Kumaka in Region 1, $15 million.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Patterson.
Mr. Chair, Agency Code 1405600, Lyndon Mabura. Can the honorable member confirm that this is the project that you have listed here is the one that has been designed and financed by the APNU government's access to the UK TRIP fund? 1, and 2, can the honorable minister confirm that the design whereby the government's position was we have an asphaltic concrete surface remains in the budget?
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chairman, I thank the honorable member for his question. I think the people of the United Kingdom might be interested in hearing what the honorable member just said, because the funds for this project are to be provided by the UK SIP, not the APNUFC government, the UK SIP. Sir, and when I assumed office, His Excellency the High Commissioner and I engaged on this particular matter, because I believe as he brings his tour of duty to an end, one of the sad parts of his feelings in leaving Guyana is probably not the expending of this money under the UK SIP in bringing real development to the people of Guyana. You would have recalled as well, Mr. Chairman, that in the previous parliament, I examined the honorable member asking the question when I indicated that while you're talking about these roads, these are just 2 jobs for the consultants. We are now at a stage where the UK SIP allows from that pot $150 million. The road, just like the India road that was 50 million, that went to 208 million, this road where we have 150 million in the pot ended up being 255 million. So here again, leadership and the ability to envision and plan for the future kicked in, and in the first 10 days of the Irfan Ali's administration, we have engaged with the CDB, who's managing the UK SIP funds, as well as with the British government through the ambassador who we communicated with. And we are working on delivering 150 million asphaltic concrete road in this alignment where nothing was done before. So the answer to the honorable member, the short answer, yes, an asphaltic concrete road, which has always been in the strategy for development for the PPPC, and I guess all the people of Guyana, linking Linden with Lethem, being able to establish a deep water harbor so that we could move goods and services into northern Brazil, where we could be able to make this economically viable. So this is just the first part of a comprehensive development strategy that we will be laying out over our 5-year period. The Linden to Mabura Road, yes, asphaltic concrete. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. Before we take Honorable Member Mr. Patterson again, we are now just 11 minutes over the time allocated for this head, and we still have 3 programs under this agency to conclude. Honorable Member Mr. Patterson.
Thank you, sir. I know, sir, I've been keeping track of question in the 2.5 hours, but sir, obviously democracy is like that.
Honorable Member, remember the time allocated is not for one person, it's for the members of the Assembly.
And I concede that, sir. Sir, I am pleased that the Honorable Minister talks so enthusiastically about this, because I can recall with the meeting with the same UK SIF person, the exact same ambassador who is still here, that at the meeting with the UK SIF, the opposition told them that they would scrap this project, and the UK SIF and the persons in the England queue like it said, if you scrap this program, we will take away our grant funding. I'm glad that you are now very enthusiastic about it. Sir, I move on now, sir, to they've never wanted it, sir, but they had no other choice. But I'm glad you've now become very, very enthusiastic about it, sir. So, agency code 1501700, sir. Waterfront Development Project, sir. Mr. Chair.
Honorable Minister Ben, are you in a point of order, sir?
Point of clarification on the question of this road, the Linden to Mabura.
Honorable Minister, I would have to ask the honorable member who is on the floor if he would concede to you for a point of clarification. Honorable Member, Mr.
Oh, sir, why not, sir? We are polite people. Go ahead.
Honorable Member, Minister Ben, you can proceed.
Mr. Chairman, on the question of the Linden to Mabura Road, I am extremely discouraged that in spite of clarifying at my budget presentation that the monies for this road and the designs for this road done by Mott MacDonald were done during my time as a Minister of Public Works. And that there is a suggestion that the acquisition of funds and the doing of the road has been done in the most recent term of our government, of the APND government. The only thing we did in respect of this road was that we required that a bridge be built over the Essequibo River at Purpocari. And I said so in this house. And here again, this honorable member is again suggesting in a barefaced attempt to steal the project
Honorable
of
Minister,
a former government.
Honorable Minister, this morning we are seeing a lot of unparliamentary steal imputing. Honorable Minister, please.
Mr. Speaker, I want to withdraw the remark I made about stealing.
Thank you very much,
I would
Honorable
only
Minister.
say that there's a blatant attempt of misappropriating the origin, the design, and the intention of doing this road. Nothing was done for 5 years to get this road done.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Patterson.
Thank you, sir. I ceded for some clarification. I received none. I stand by my previous statement where the financing for this project was and the design and the realignment. I stand by my previous statement, sir. Sir,
And the question now, sir.
thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much.
Sir, can I continue now?
Yes, sir.
Standing on my previous statement on the road, sir, on the waterfront development 1501-1700 waterfront development, sir, can the Honorable Minister confirm? Can the Honorable Minister give a description of this project, confirm that it remains as designed, and confirm that this is not a project started, designed, funds secured by the APNU government, which you have now embraced?
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chair, thank you very much, and thank the honorable member for his question. Mr. Chair, what I can tell you is that the waterfront development and the road to Mapura with the bridge to Pukari all fell within the funding from the UKCIP. The 150 million can do the waterfront development and the road. The road alone is 255 million. So when you are a developing country and you have development partners, you have to make decisions about which will bring the greatest economic value that could generate income to deal with the others that are coming. And it is called prioritizing. In our dispensation, we will prioritize the $150 million from the UKCIP for the road. We continue with the designs of the waterfront development, and the Honorable Mr. Patterson may recognize that with the manner in which we will develop this country, this waterfront development may very well be funded through private sector. Because you would have read in the newspapers the application for expressions of interest for hotels and all the rest of it. And as more private sector people come in to develop the hoteling industry and the rest of it, they will want to participate in the development of our waterfront to be able to attract tourists, and also we will want to ensure that sea defenses and our shorelines are in order. So to tell the honorable member, the designs, the studies are very relevant, they're very active, but as it relates to the use of the 150 USF, the road is the priority. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. I noticed that the Honorable Member, if it's a follow-up, I have the Honorable Member, Dr. Mahadio, has been waiting for some time. Let Honorable Member, Dr. Mahadio, please, let the Honorable Member, Mr. Patterson, continue.
Thank you, sir. As a follow-up question, that the AP and UFC government, exactly what the Honorable Minister has said, did make the bridge and the road a priority. So the question I'm asking the Honorable Minister is he following the designs that are there? I didn't ask where he's funding it. designs that were there and laid out by the AP and UAFC government? Are you continuing the program? I didn't ask if you were where you're funding it. The priority has always been from our government and yours, the road. So can you answer that particular question?
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chair, I don't have a fetish of whether it's APNU or PPPC. We have a design that was developed by a consultant of which the Honorable Minister Robeson then spoke about. And based upon those studies, we are following those designs and studies.
Thank you very much. Honorable Member Dr. Mahadio.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Line item, I'd like to refer the Honorable Minister to line item 1017. Referring you, Honorable Minister, to line item 1601,000, selling. I see you have repairs for a number of sellings, including Supernam selling. Two questions. One is that if you could tell me about the repairs that would be done on the Supernam selling in particular. But more importantly, Honorable Minister, could you tell me what's the financial health of the Transport and Harbors Department, or financial status, if you want to put it that way? Thank you.
Honorable Minister. Honorable Minister.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chair, earlier I indicated when we were dealing with another question about the liabilities of 850. Well, my colleague is bringing me up to date. It's beyond 815. It's now 956 because we have liabilities in terms of salaries that are to be paid, and there are some other accumulated liabilities. It's 956,804,781 in the red. That is the current financial state of the Transport and Harbors. As it relates to the Supernam selling, like all the other selling, this is not building new, it's just rehabilitating, make sure that people can utilize them in a safe manner. And that is what is taking place in all four of the areas that have been identified. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. This is a good time to put the question that the sum stated for Agency 31, Program 312, Public Works, Capital Expenditure, now forms part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The sum so stated now forms part of the estimates. We now turn to pages 240 and 241. And I propose the question that the sum stated for Agency 31, Ministry of Public Works, Program 313, Transportation, current expenditure, forms part of the estimates. Honorable Member Mr. Jones.
Comrade Speaker, just seeking your guidance. We are now under the Ministry of Public Works, is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Still.
The final program.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Opposition Chief Whip. Honorable Member. Honorable Members, I now put a question that the sum stated for Agency 31, Ministry of Public Works, Program 313, Transportation, current expenditure, forms part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The sum now stands part of the estimates. Can we move to page 654? And I propose the question that the sum stated for Agency 31, Ministry of Public Works, Program 313, Transportation, capital expenditure, stands part of the estimates. Honorable Member, Mr. Patterson.
Thank you, sir. Agency code. Oh yes, 1601900. Says Division of Studies and Design, CBD, previously. And sir, in there, under project profile, sir, reference 177, they have air transportation hub at Letem, bridge at Wismar, and construction of riverine transportation hub at Parika. And I see, sir, it's a foreign funded project. Can the Honorable Minister give us a description of what will be done under these projects? When, sir, were the contracts for these projects signed? The loan, will be a loan.
Honorable Minister, he's just waiting for the staff to change.
Thank you, Mr.
Honorable
Chair.
Minister, go ahead.
Thank the honorable member for the question. The exact signing, the date of signing the loan, I'm having the staff get that for you. But the project would be the air transport hub at Letem. For the rest of this year, we're going to expend $80 million in the work that is being done there. The construction of the bridge at Wisma, there is no further money that will be spent on that. I think that is already completed. We're waiting on the final report. And the construction of the river transport hub at Parika, that's $40 million. A total of $120 million. But the honorable member will know, like all the other foreign funded programs, you have to be able to meet the standards. So the Wisma Bridge, the studies was 700,000 US dollars, and it was signed on the 16th of September 2019, and the work was started on the 24th of September 2019. At the Parika Stelling, it was 610,455 British pounds, and that was signed on the 9th of October 2019, and works commenced on the 21st of October 2019. The Letem Aerodrome, it was $976,700 US. It was signed on the 29th of October 2019, and works commenced on the 19th of November 2019. And I think specifically the honorable member wanted to ensure that the House hears that if there were 2019 projects that were signed, and I think he would also want the House to know that he was engaging in contract at a time when he was a caretaker government and he was not legally entitled to be acting on behalf of the state. Thank you very much.
Follow-up question. Follow-up question.
Honorable Minister, I didn't hear the last part of your response. Did you say dictator?
Did I say?
Sorry. Honorable Member, Mr. Patterson, please go ahead.
Sir, I was just confirming, irrespective of what status he attributed to the government, that like the Linden Letem Road, which the honorable member formerly has a misguided idea we started, I would like him to confirm that there was no such project documents in the ministry prior to what the ones that you have read out. That's all I'm asking.
Honorable Minister, Honorable Member, Miss Ferguson. Honorable Member, Miss Ferguson. The Minister didn't have a question. I called on him. I called on him. He didn't have a response.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair, just for the record,
Honorable
tidiness
Minister,
of
go
the
ahead.
Hansard, I don't know there's a question for me to answer. So I don't want to leave the Hansard in a vacuum that the honorable member has made a statement and the honorable member, the minister did not respond. As far as I'm aware, I have no knowledge of what the honorable member is talking about. My colleague stood in this house to say that the studies by Mott MacDonald started under his tenure. And if the honorable member would like to dispute that, there is a way in which he could dispute that by bringing documents to public notice that it started when he assumed office.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member Ms. Ferguson.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, if I'm to turn our attention to Project Code 160-1300, equipment, GCAA, to the tune of kind of 5 million plus. In the project profile here, it reads, the project entails provision of consultancy and guide path antenna. Can the honorable member explain to this house what this particular equipment will be used for? That's one. Two, what procurement procedure will be used to ensure that there is transparency.
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chair, may I indicate to the honorable member that the project code she quoted was not correct. It's 1200 and not 1300, but I will nevertheless answer the question since I know what she is.
Honorable Minister, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, I'm advised that the ILS was purchased, shipped, and is presently at the Tamiri Tower compound. The cabinet and generator shelter bases at the northeast end to be completed. This is to help with the glide path of the aircraft coming in. And outstanding is the construction of the Empire GP antenna base, which is the civil works. And I think that is ongoing. That's ongoing. The cabinet shelter base at the southwest section. GPL is to continue power feed installation to the shelter. 2 new gen sets to be procured for secondary power to GP and LOC sites. The sinking monitors, part of the installation of the northeast end, is presently shipped, awaiting arrival at Port Georgetown. Installation of the ILS is slated for November 2020. This is something for the safety of all of us and everyone coming into our airspace, and this is a matter that we would like to see completed as soon as possible. Thank you, Honorable.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Minister, Honorable Member Ms. Ferguson, you had a follow-up? Honorable Minister Teixeira.
Yes, thank you, sir. 1601700 National Aviation Master Plan. When we were dealing with public infrastructure a little while ago, it had $84 million under this head. And now in the last 3 months, you have 49.8 million. Could the Honorable Minister advise us on the status of this National Aviation Master Plan, and when will be the completion date, and if there are any reasons for it taking so long?
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chair, if you will just give 1 minute.
Sure.
I could be advised by the Director General. Because of COVID, all of them could not have been here.
We just allow the Honorable Minister's staff to interchange.
In the interim, the 49,830,000, the project entails the development of the international domestic aviation policy, domestic air transport baseline, aviation and aviation safety technology, safety management of air traffic in accordance with ICAO standard requirements, airport users and service improvement. When is this program is going to come to an end? In November of this year, and I think the last time I had a briefing with the DG, we have completed 6 out of 6 deliverables, and we're at the point of the final review. The final review for completion. So that's where we are on this.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Honorable Minister Teixeira, you have a follow-up? Honorable members, this is a good time for me to put the question that Honorable Member Ms. Desir, Walton Desir.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I just wanted, by way of clarification, because as far as I am aware, the deliverables under the Civil Aviation Master Plan are not those that were just read out. I believe there's a National Air Transport Plan, a National Civil Aviation Plan, a National Airspace Plan. And so I just wanted the Honorable Minister to clarify that information because it will be hand-carried.
Honorable Minister.
I have been advised that all 6 of the deliverables have been completed. 2 are under review, and they will be sent back to us so that the consultants will be able to do the final touches if there is anything to be done, and that's the stage where we are.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable members, this is a good time for me to put the question that the sum stated for Agency 31, Program 313, Transportation, Capital Expenditure, stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The sum so stated now stands part of the estimates. Let the Assembly resume. Honorable members, let me take this opportunity to thank the ministers and the supporting staff for guiding us through the last session. Thank you very much. Honorable members, before we take the suspension, I would just like to inform you that I have a most illustrious guest who has joined us during the estimates. And my guest today is from Trinidad and Tobago, and he is a person who's been a five terms member of parliament, 3 times a minister, leader of the government business in the House 4 times, and leader of government business in the Senate at one time. And he is the honorable member, Mr. Ganga Singh. Thank you very much. Honorable members, this is a good time to take the suspension. Thank you very much.